Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video review for James Bond Skyfall. It just came out last week. Got a chance to see it this last weekend, and just wanted to give my thoughts on it. This will be a non-spoiler review because I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody or any of the events that happen. Be very generic, but just give my thoughts on it. So, I am a pretty big James Bond fan, not a huge fan. I haven't seen every single James Bond movie there is that's been released over the years. I mean, as they show in the movie, it's been 50 years since Ian Fleming's James Bond has been, getting movies and everything, and the books were written and all that. And, if I had to pick a few that are my favorites out of the mix, probably Casino Royale with Daniel Craig as James Bond, GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan. I did like that a lot. A lot of people don't like Pierce Brosnan as Bond, but I think he's pretty good. I don't think he's bad. Goldfinger, Sean Connery, obviously he's the man. And actually, Skyfall is one of my favorites too. If I had to place it, I'd probably put it at number 2 in terms of my favorites, with Casino Royale probably still being my favorite. GoldenEye maybe, let's say, 3rd, and Skyfall being number 2. From what I've seen anyway. Like I said, I've not seen them all, but from what I've seen. Now, I am kind of one of the guys that I do like watching classic movies sometimes, but for the most part, as time goes on, film just gets better. The industry just gets, even kind of more darker, which has happened in the last 20 to 30 years compared to how the Bonds used to be. Good example, that would be in Casino Royale, where Daniel Craig is James Bond, his first kill with the guy in the bathroom, where he actually strangles the guy to death. And it's probably my favorite scene of any James Bond movie, because I just think it's like, wow, it's so badass. It just kind of makes Daniel Craig's James Bond look like he's a frickin' murderer. And in this movie, Skyfall, we get a lot more of that. We get a lot of cool fight scenes with him against certain people, terrorist type of thing, part of this terrorist network. And some of them are extremely, extremely well done. In particular, there's one scene where it's sort of like there is a terrorist that is a sniper, or he's about to assassinate somebody. He does that, and then you see James Bond and him kind of fight it out in like a silhouette type scene, and it's really, really cool. The intro features Adele, and it's a really artistic, really cool intro. The villain is actually extremely cool compared to a lot of the James Bond movies. This one is, without giving too much away, he sort of, it seems like the director did say he was influenced a lot by The Dark Knight, but in a lot of ways he reminds me of Heath Ledger's Joker to some extent, especially there's a few scenes about halfway through which really remind me of The Dark Knight, and sort of the interrogation room scene with Heath Ledger's The Joker. Plus, he's got some things about him. His hair is dyed blonde, and he's kind of, I want to say faggy, but he's a little faggy, which is, now Heath Ledger's Joker wasn't faggy, but you get how I mean, that he's kind of has an admiration for Batman, whereas this character has an admiration for James, and doesn't really, they get into a situation where he doesn't really hurt James, so to speak, and doesn't really seem to want to, just sort of, has fun with the situation. And that's all I'll really say about that. The Bond girls are pretty good as well. Not my favorite, but they're pretty good. And the third act in particular in the movie, the finale, the conclusion, is really, really awesome. It sort of reminds me of like a Western-style shootout, where you have, dozens of men, and James Bond is significantly outnumbered, and is still able to do really well against them and everything. And this one feels sort of closer, to give you a little bit about the, it feels closer to MI6, the whole, secret team there and everything, as the character who's attacking the terrorist sort of knows a lot about them and is targeting them directly. So it's not like James Bond is going on a mission to do something, right? He's actually defending parts of MI6 from this terrorist, which is cool, because it makes it feel a lot more close to home versus a lot of the other James Bond movies, where he's off on a mission doing something in particular. In this, his mission is just to kind of keep MI6 together or protect those that he has to, and it makes it feel a lot closer and more emotional because of that. You have a lot more of the characters there involved. And some of the things that happen with that are really, really interesting. So overall, I'm going to give Skyfall an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a great James Bond movie. It's one of my favorites from all that I've seen, and it takes itself pretty seriously. It's darker than a lot of the older James Bonds were. It's got some awesome action scenes. The visuals in it are stunning, are really good. The villain's cool. Daniel Craig is probably my favorite Bond, just because of, and it might not just be him, it could just be the evolution of the movies so that they become more serious, darker, and action-oriented. So, I mean, Sean Connery's the man, so, it's kind of hard to compare, but the movie industry has changed so much since then. I like it so much more now where you have that action, you don't have that silliness. Like, there's some really silly things in the old Bond movies. To give you one quick example, Odd Job with throwing his hat. Like, it's just so ridiculous, it takes me away from the experience. It's like, this is just silly. I mean, that was how it was in the 60s and 70s and stuff. And it's crazy to think that Bond's been around for this long. But yeah, Daniel Craig is an amazing Bond. And he actually looks like he could kick ass. Like he obviously lifts weights. His shoulders are actually bigger. He's not just like a skinflint. He actually looks like he could probably kick somebody's ass. Now, granted, in real life, I think he only weighs 172 pounds or 70 pounds or something like that. But at the same time, all he has to do is look like he can. And he does look like he can kick some ass. So that's very cool. That's pretty much all I want to say about Skyfall. I've decided not to do a spoiler review because I'm not an expert when it comes to James Bond. I don't know as much about James Bond as I do, like, comic books, The Walking Dead, this kind of stuff. But I definitely recommend it to anybody who likes action movies, who likes the James Bond movies, and who liked, Casino Royale or Quantum of Solace. Even though Quantum of Solace was, honestly, I thought it was really, really bad. I didn't really like it. I felt like there wasn't enough to it. It wasn't dense enough. It was almost like half a movie, so it wasn't that good. But this one definitely is worth it, and definitely is probably one of the best Bonds there's ever been. That's pretty much it for this review, guys. If you guys have seen it, let me know. We'll talk about it in the comments, discuss what you thought about it. Try to keep it spoiler-free, but, actually go ahead and spoil it. People who haven't seen it, don't read the comments because they're not really for you. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. See you for the next one. This is Trev, saying peace.